So next we are moving to one of the most important topic in this section. So most of the questions of the transaction came from this scheduling. So there are different types of schedules and how we have to identify whether schedules are conflict or serializable, then make into a serializable schedule. So lot of questions are asking from this portion. So one of the most important topic from the transaction is scheduling. So we have a lot of things come under this scheduling. So what do you mean by scheduling? So you already see how a process is scheduled in operating system. Okay, I think you already studied about that. So in that case we are actually scheduling the process, that is we are making an execution strategy of different process in an interleaved fashion, that is switching different process one by one, and there is will be a we are actually making an execution phase of that. So in the same way, suppose we start to execute different transaction concurrently in a DBMS system, then the DBMS system will schedule the transaction in an interleaved fashion. So maybe execute the first two operations commands of transaction T1, then execute the operation of transaction T2, then move to T3, then maybe to T2, then maybe to T3, then maybe to T1. So there are different ways in which we can schedule n transaction. So we are going to look what are the possible ways we can schedule, and what are the issues if we schedule in an improper way. So schedules, or other name is known as histories of a transaction of n transaction T1, T2, Tn is an ordering of the operations of the transaction. So if we are saying this is the schedule of the transaction, then it means that it consists of different commands from different transaction. So a schedule may consist of first a write operation x, write operation y, then a read operation x. Maybe the first two operation is of transaction T1, third operation is from transaction T2, and fourth operation from again T1, fifth operation from T3. So it that steps or that set of commands are from different transaction, but they are said to be in a single schedule. Okay, so in the same way we can schedule in different manner. The same transaction commands can be scheduled in different ways. So operation for different transaction can be interleaved in the schedule S. For each transaction Ti that participates in the schedule S, the operations of Ti in S must appear in the same order in which they occur in Ti. That means suppose we have different transaction, and transaction T1 contain 10 operation in a particular order, and transaction T2 contain 5 operations. So you know what are the operation and what are the order of operations in T1, and what are the order of operation in T2. And if you start to schedule T1 and T2 in an interleaved fashion, then order of operations of that from the T1 is executed should be in the same order in which the transaction, the same order in which the operation exists in T1. Suppose you are scheduling two transaction T1 and T2. So that means we are arranging the commands of T1 and T2 in an interleaved fashion. Then the command should be in proper order. Okay, so that means if it suppose T1 contain a write x as read x and write x, then read y, then in the schedule of T1 and T2, the operations of T1 should be like read x, then maybe commands of T2, and when the second command of T1 should be write x, and third command of T1 should be read y. Okay, so by at the time of scheduling the transaction, you have no privilege to reorder the commands of a particular transaction. It should be in the same order as it exists in the transaction. So the order of operation S is considered to be total ordering, meaning that for any two operations in the schedule, one must occur before the other. So it's actually a property that can be based on two dependent commands or operations of a particular transaction. So if we are saying that a read item of x should come before the write item of x, then we can say that have a total ordering. Okay, so a command A should come before B, then that constraints is actually the total ordering. So this is actually different notations we are used in scheduling. So in a particular schedule, it consists of different operations from different transactions. So in order for writing the order of that interleaved commands, we are using these type of notations. So a shorthand notation is mainly used. The suffix indicate the transaction ID. So here you can see R1, R2, W1, W2. That indicates the write operation of R1 indicates write operation of transaction 1. R2 indicates write operation of transaction 2. And next is begin transaction. It's actually indicated using B, but it is actually an optional one. Indication of beginning of the transaction is actually optional. Then next is read, then write, and with the E it can shows end of a particular transaction, and before doing the end operation it can show the commit of a transaction as well as the aborting of a particular transaction. So here you can see we are having two schedules. SA is the first schedule and SB is the second schedule. So this is an example just given here. So here R1 of X. So here you can see there are only two type transaction 1 and 2. From the suffix we can identify that there are only two transaction, and in the interleaved fashion we arrange it is like that. First you have to do read operation of transaction 1 on data item X, then read operation of transaction 2 on data item X, then write item of X by transaction 1, then read item of Y by transaction 1, and next write item of transaction 2 on data item X, then write item Y by transaction 1. So that is a particular schedule. And this is the second example. Here you can see but in the first case there is no information regarding the commit and abort. So in the maybe in the operation or in the scheduling and execution, the transaction T1 and as well as T2 may failed. So next is second is B. Here we can see different read and write operation, and at the end it is shows A1, that indicates the transaction T1 is aborted. Okay, so that is also we can denote like this. So this is two you can use as an example. So you have to study this notation, because while for the university examination you are given with a schedule like this, and you have me asked to check whether it will create any conflict or some other problems. Okay, so we can see in later slides about that. So you have to understand how we can write the schedule and what are the notation used in the schedule. Next, so this is the first problem you have going to study, conflict. So conflict means two operations in the particular schedule create a conflict only if their result can change if they executed in different ways. So that here you can see different conditions for the conflict. Two operations in the schedule are set to conflict if they satisfy all of the three following conditions. So at a stretch it has to satisfy all the three conditions. They belong to different transaction. They access the same data item X, and at least one of the operation is a write item. So that indicates that two operations is said to be conflicting operation. Their order of, if we change the order of execution of those operation, then the result will change. That suppose I will say an example. Suppose if transaction T1 read a particular item X and update its value to 30, then write item X. So and in the meantime transaction T2 read the item X. Okay, so here you can see suppose in the schedule transaction T2 is scheduled first, then it gets the value of X as some other value. But if in the schedule transaction T1 is executed first and then followed by T2, okay, it is scheduled like that. So in that case you can see that T1 firstly modified the value of X to 30 and it is returned back to hard disk, and after that T2 is scheduled into this machine. So in that case T2 or the transaction T2 get the value of X as 50. Okay, sorry, just 30. So order of execution of transaction or order of scheduling of the transaction may change the end result. In that case we can say there is a conflict in the operations. So scheduling of the operations may change the end result. So you have to follow this, you have to check these conditions. First condition is those transactions. So here we can see in the example given, the write operations of T1 affect the read operation of T2. So if you done the read operation of T2 first, then the write operation of T1, then the output will be different. For a T2 the value of X is something some other value. But if you schedule T2 or write of T1 first, then the read of T2, then T2 will get the value of X as 30. So the scheduling of transaction may change the end result. So one of the operations should be write operation. That is the third condition. One of the operations should be write condition. That means indicates that suppose a transaction involves only read operation and T2 also contain read operation. So there is no change in the end result if T1 firstly executed then followed by T2, or T2 firstly executed then followed by T1. So because both are just reading the information, so there is no conflict if both transaction contain read item of X. And so that is we are saying, so there are two types of conflicting: read write conflicting and write write conflicting. So read write conflict means that transaction T1 is writing something, or transaction T2 is reading the same value. So if the order of execution change, the order result will be may change. Okay, so the other second one is write write conflict. That indicates suppose transaction T1 write the value of X as 30 and transaction T2 is doing that, it modify the value of X to 50. So suppose transaction T1 firstly executed followed by T2, then after execution of both the transaction, what will be the output? T1 firstly execute, it modify the value to 30, and T2 secondly execute and it modify the value to 50, and at last after the execution of T1 and T2 the value is 50. Okay, that means T2 is overwrite the value written by T1. So assume you change the order of execution, or the schedule is done like T2 followed by T1, then what will be the operation? Firstly T2 will modify value of X to 50 and it is overwritten by T1 is modify the value to 30. So after execution of both T2 and T1 the end result is 30. So here we can say there is some conflict. If the order of execution change, the last result may change. So that we are saying that either of the operations should be right, or both of the operations should be right. There is no read conflict, because if all the operations are read, there is no conflict. So one of the operations should be the right. So next you have to study the term complete schedule. A schedule S of n transaction T1, T2 up to Tn is said to be a complete schedule if the following condition hold. So the operations in S exactly those operations in T1, T2, Tn, including the commit and abort operation as the last operation for each transaction in the schedule. So that is the first condition. All the after completing the operations, or after completing the schedule, we can say that all the commands of every transaction is included in that schedule, and the last operation is either commit or abort. Okay, so next condition is for any pair of operations from the same transaction Ti, their relative order of appearance in S is the same as their order of appearance in T1. So that's we already discussed. The order of commands of a particular transaction should not change while it executed in an interleaved fashion. Next, third, for any two conflicting operation, one of the two must occur before the other in the schedule. So you can say that there is a total ordering. So if there is two conflicting operation, then there must be then you can say that which one come first and which one come next. So that is actually the total ordering. So if all the three conditions satisfied, then we can say that it is in complete schedule. And one more term you have to study is for two non-conflicting operation to occur in the schedule without defining which occurs first. That is actually opposite of third point. Okay, so if you are taking only considering only two non-conflict operation, right, like read x and read x. Okay, so when T1 contain read x and T2 contain read x. Okay, and one more thing, suppose T1 contain write x, okay, and T2 contain read y. They are also in non-conflicting operation, because they are doing in different data item. It is not in conflicting stage, because first one is doing in the operations on data item x, but the second one is on data item y. They are not in a conflict position. So if there are those type of non-conflicting operation, we can schedule in any order. Okay, there is no total ordering required. Okay, so and we can say it is actually in partial order. There is no strict rule in the order of execution. Then we can say it is in partial order.